Today we are going to talk about a particular pattern of attack which is called password spray, and the way it is done basically is the same kind of password being tried to access multiple accounts, and we are going to look at in SignIn Logs for the same. Now to do that we will be using same log analytics demo workspace and SignIn Logs as a dataset. Now to do that, the first thing as usual, we will start typing SignIn Logs and have a look at do we really have any data in SignIn Logs or not. So once we run this confirms that we have logs in SignIn Logs, right? Now just to understand the ratio between success and failure, we will be summarizing these logs, and we will take count for example, and then we will say failed sign-ins, and to identify failed sign-ins we will be using a function called Countif, and that Countif will be happening on result type not equal to 0, and for successful logins we will be using the same Countif function just as an opposite condition, so it will be double equals to 0. And what will happen in this case is the reason we are typing this condition as result type 0, because if we look at the existing data set, and I will let it explain you why it is happening so. So if we look at result type, it is 0, and it is basically a successful sign-in activity, right? So that means any successful is result type as 0, and any failure is result typing as non-zero, right? Now what are you gonna do, because we need also to group the number of users, right? So we will do the make set, and in make set we will be using user principal name, and we will be breaking it by a time segment, and for that we will be using the bin function with 10 minutes for example. Now let us try this to run for last 24 hours, right? And once I run this, you can see the results are basically clubbed across failed and successful sign-in for a particular set of user principal names. All right. Now to extend this further, what we're gonna do is where the failed sign-in count is greater than 1, and because we are using the user principal name as a setup array or setup string into an array, so we're gonna need the array length of that particular set user principal name, and we would say wherever the number of users are more than 10, that means the failure has happened for more than 10 users at the same instance, that means within 10 minutes, right? Now if I rerun the query, it's gonna filter out only the results wherein within 10 minutes there are more than 10 users which has a failure logins, right? Now again, this is still a tabular data. To understand it a bit more, we're gonna render that into a time chart. All right, now let me run this time chart. So but once it's run successfully, yeah, it is basically giving the say failed kind and successful sign in. But there is a little catch in this result set. We don't know the users for whom the attack was tried possibly or the login has failed. Now to do that, because we have the username in an array, we are going to convert that into a string so that it can be plotted into the chart, right? So we're gonna expand users equal to toString, and we would say set underscore user principal name. And what will happen is this will basically change that particular setup array into a string, and we'll be using the same run command once again. All right, and once we do so, right, let us have a look at it. See, there are this graphs became more unreadable. So now what are you gonna do next to kind of get a better understanding, right? We already know the time segment is for 10 minutes. So I'm gonna wait for here and then kind of change the time chart to some other suitable chart. So now to do that, let me try to make it as a column chart and try to run the query again. And once the query execution is finished, we can see the results. And if you observe the result and if I hover on any of the results, for example, right, or you can see in the below details, we have a set of users who has failed. So if I look at the bigger pillar wherein it's more than 60, right, so basically you can see all the users who are basically having the fail login within that particular 10 minutes of time frame, right? So basically that's how it is shown as a password spray attack scenario.